Presidential debate just happened, and although it wasn't as bad as the presidential debate, which was riddled with interruptions and personal disses, I'm surprised Mike Pence didn't start singing "Shoo Fly, Don't Bother Me." On this week's episode of Headlines, we'll be looking at some COVID-19 updates, space toilets from NASA, the US vice presidential debate, the Armenia-Azerbaijan conflict, a global food shortage, Eddie Van Halen's death, and Tasmanian devils. Welcome to Headlines. First, some COVID-19 briefs. The WHO has announced that they're planning to give 120 million testing kits to developing countries. The kits are cheap, provide a result within 15 to 30 minutes, and they're spit tests. This means that people don't need to have swabs shoved up their noses, which, as unpleasant as it sounds, still isn't as painful as the first presidential debate. Hooray! Jurassic World has to suspend filming after there were few positive tests on set. This has pushed the film's release date back to June 2022. All we can say is, COVID-19 also robbed us of the Japanese fashion guru Kenzo Tadaka. POTUS and FLOTUS tested positive for COVID-19. This is the one thing that left the Democrats believing in God and the Republicans believing in science. In the madness that followed, Trump was taken to the hospital only to escape for a joyride to wave at his adoring fans who had gathered right outside the hospital, sparking fury and outrage amongst his detractors. Then, he just left altogether and returned to the White House despite major questions about his health. In terms of global COVID-19 numbers, the US, India, Brazil, Russia, and Colombia are in the lead. In fact, Russia reported its highest daily numbers since June. Next, the world's most expensive toilet. NASA will be launching a state-of-the-art zero-gravity toilet to be tested at the International Space Station, or the ISS. A zero-gravity space toilet? What have they been using all this time? Supergravity? But this is great news, right? Since the toilet looks just like a porta potty, you can now fear for your privacy 100,000 meters away from the Earth. The US vice presidential debate between Mike Pence and Kamala Harris happened on Wednesday night. They talked about the coronavirus, taxes, healthcare, ISIS, fracking, and fossil fuels. However, the best part of the whole debate was when a fly landed on Pence's head. We're honestly kind of surprised he let that, fly. The fly hung around for 2 whole minutes. Before the debate was over, the fly had its own Twitter account, and the Joe Biden campaign began selling Biden-Harris fly swatters with the slogan, "Truth over flies." Now to Azerbaijan. Fighting erupted on the 27th of September in the Nagorno-Karabakh region, an Azerbaijani ethnic enclave mostly populated by Armenians. Here's why. Armenia and Azerbaijan were originally part of the Soviet Union. Both countries became independent in 1991 when the USSR fell and broke up into several smaller countries. So Armenia and Azerbaijan became neighbors. But a region consisting of mostly ethnic Armenians didn't want to be a part of Azerbaijan. Fighting broke out and the region declared itself to be Nagorno-Karabakh, independent from Azerbaijan. Since then, Azerbaijan has been trying to get control of it again. Turkey and Armenia have beef, and Turkey has sealed its border with Armenia. It is said it will only improve relations with Armenia if Armenia withdraws from the conflict area. Now, Turkey has been flexing its muscles in the region. It's friends with Azerbaijan as they're both Muslim-majority nations, and it's encouraged Azerbaijan to reassert dominance over the area by force if necessary. Armenia is fighting back, claiming that Turkey is sending Syrian fighters to help Azerbaijan. Next, food. The world is witnessing a massive food shortage according to a report released by the Washington Post last week. In fact, according to the United Nations, the world is on the brink of one of its worst food crises in 50 years. The pandemic, swarms of locusts, and extreme weather conditions have caused disruptions in agricultural production, leading to a scarcity of food in countries like Yemen, Sudan, Mexico, and even China and South Korea. Thankfully, governments are taking action. Restaurants in China, for example, are now being told to serve half dinners or fine people for wasting their food. Legendary Hall of Fame guitarist and co-founder of the band Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen has died after a long battle with throat cancer at the age of 65. Van Halen was one of the most influential guitarists of his generation, and the band was one of the most popular rock acts of all time. In 2012, Guitar World magazine ranked him number 1 on its list of the 100 greatest guitarists of all time. To say Van Halen did things the hard way would be an understatement. He never learned how to read music, which is what he told the Rolling Stone in 1995. He fooled his teacher for 6 years and his teacher never knew. He'd watch his fingers and he'd play it. Rest in peace, Eddie, and I hope you're jamming with Jimmy. The world also lost Johnny Nash, the singer who brought us the infinitely upbeat I Can See Clearly Now, which helped bring reggae music into the mainstream. Finally, after 3,000 years, Tasmanian devils are back in the forests of mainland Australia. These feisty marsupials are famous for their powerful jaws, their ferocity, and the weird noise that would scare anyone at night. They're not called devils for nothing. The devils have been confined to Tasmania, an island just off Australia, after dingoes wiped them out on the mainland. Just recently, they've been battling with a terrible mouth cancer, and it's taken a sustained breeding effort to increase their populations. The little devils were given a proper send-off by Aussie actor Chris Hemsworth, whom we all know as Thor, and his wife Elsa Pataki. On that note, those are your headlines for this week. I'll see you next time on Headlines.